welcome back. We're going to be a deep dive today on Tesla's Q4 2024 earnings. So these came out pretty recently, January 29th, 2025. And I think these numbers are really interesting for a lot of reasons. You might be listening because you're thinking about investing in Tesla, or maybe you're just curious about where the whole EV market's headed. But either way, I think you're going to find this deep dive pretty interesting.
Yeah, what's really interesting here is that we're looking at a company that was really on top of the world when it comes to EVs, but the landscape's changing pretty rapidly.
Yeah. So give me the overview here. What are we looking at?
Well, Tesla brought in a pretty big chunk of change, $27.27 billion in revenue. That's actually an 8.1% increase year over year. So, sounds good, right?
It does, but I have a feeling there's more to the story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got to think about it in the context of Tesla's own goals and, this increasingly competitive EV market. Imagine Tesla's trying to bake this giant cake, right?
Mm-hmm.
But other bakers are showing up with their own creations, and suddenly everyone's fighting for a slice.
So Tesla's not the only game in town anymore. And, all this competition's got to be putting pressure on them.
Definitely a huge factor. In fact, for the first time ever, Tesla's deliveries actually declined year over year. They delivered a record 495,570 vehicles, which, again, that's a lot of cars. But it's short of their projected 500,000 to 510,000 unit target.
Wow, first ever decline. That's going to be a pretty big deal. What's causing this slowdown? Is it just competition, or is there more to it?
The competition is definitely a big part of it. I mean, you got companies like BYD making huge waves, especially in China. But it's not just the number of players. Tesla's also dealing with rising production costs. And that's something that's hitting everyone in the industry.
So more competition, higher production costs, not a recipe for success.
Exactly. And to stay competitive in this, tougher landscape, Tesla's had to make some moves like cutting prices.
Yeah.
And that's helped them, keep up. But it's also putting a squeeze on their profit margins.
Okay, let's talk about those shrinking margins. Explain this to me like I'm thinking about buying Tesla stock. What does this mean for their bottom line and for potential investors?
All right, so imagine each Tesla car they sell is like a pie. And the profits is that slice is getting smaller. Because of those price cuts and rising costs, their automotive gross margins are down around 15%. And that's a drop from those much higher numbers they had before. Basically, for every dollar they're making from those cars, they're keeping less of it as profit.
So less profit per car, that's got to be worrying for investors, right?
It's definitely something to think about.
Yep.
It means Tesla might have to choose between keeping those high prices, which could hurt sales, or accepting lower profits, which, might worry those investors. It's a balancing act.
So they're walking a bit of a tightrope here, high growth, tons of hype, but also these challenges popping up. Makes you wonder, can they stay profitable in this, tougher environment?
That's the billion-dollar question. And analysts are watching closely to see if Tesla can adapt and, keep ahead of the curve.
Which is where things get interesting, right? Because Tesla's known for innovation. They're not just sitting around. They're making some big bets on the future.
Exactly. And those bets are what we're going to dive into next. We'll explore their AI moves their expansion into the energy market. And that much-anticipated new SUV, the Q.
Okay, so let's talk about those big bets Tesla's making. You mentioned AI, their energy business, and this new Q SUV. Let's start with AI. What's all the hype about, and why should investors care?
Well, Tesla's putting a ton of resources into AI, especially when it comes to self-driving technology. They think that's the future of transportation, and they want to be the ones leading the charge.
Yeah, a lot of companies are working on self-driving cars, though, right?
Yeah.
What makes you think Tesla's the one to bet on? Are they really that far ahead?
They've definitely got some advantages. I mean, first off, they've got tons of data from all their cars already out there driving around. And that data is super valuable for training their self-driving algorithms. Plus, Tesla is known for pushing the limits of what's possible with technology. They're not afraid to take risks, and that could really give them an edge in this fast-paced world of AI.
So data-rich and risk-taking, interesting combo. But isn't self-driving still a ways off? I mean, when can we realistically expect to see a truly autonomous Tesla?
That's the million-dollar question. And even the experts don't agree on a timeline. There's still some hurdles to overcome with the technology and the regulations. But Tesla's really banking on self-driving being the future. And if they figure it out, it could be a game changer for them and for everyone else in the auto industry.
Okay, so AI is a long game with huge potential, but also a lot of uncertainty. What about their energy business? Isn't that market pretty crowded already? How can Tesla stand out there?
Yeah, the energy market is definitely competitive, but Tesla's coming at it with that, signature innovative style. They're not just selling solar panels and batteries. They're creating these integrated energy solutions for homes and businesses. It's like a whole Tesla ecosystem where you're charging your car from your solar roof, and your home's powered by a Tesla Powerwall battery.
So it's all about synergy, creating this seamless experience across all those different energy needs. Pretty smart.
And it taps into that growing demand for sustainable energy, which is a trend worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
People want to reduce their carbon footprint, and Tesla's positioning themselves to really capitalize on that.
All right, that makes sense. Now let's talk about that new Q SUV. You mentioned it's supposed to be more affordable. Is this Tesla's way of going after that mass market, those people who can't drop six figures on a Model S?
You get it. The Q is seen as a big step in expanding Tesla's reach. A more affordable SUV could bring in a whole new wave of customers.
Do we know anything about the features or who they're targeting with this Q?
Well, the rumors say it'll be smaller than the Model Y, but still roomy enough for a family. They're probably aiming for a younger, more budget-conscious buyer. Someone who wants a stylish, eco-friendly SUV, but doesn't want to break the bank.
Interesting. Sounds like they're trying to create a Tesla for the everyday driver. But even with all these exciting developments, the stock market seems a little unsure about Tesla's future. You mentioned that average price target for 2025 being around $362, which makes it sound like some analysts are worried about overvaluation.
Yeah, there's definitely some caution out there. Investors are waiting to see if Tesla can actually deliver on all these promises, especially in those key areas we just talked about.
So it's a wait-and-see game. Huge potential, but also some risks. What do you think will Tesla hold on to that top spot in the EV market? Or are we seeing the start of a new era with more players competing for the crown?
That's a question with implications not just for investors, but for the whole future of transportation technology, even our planet.
Yeah, it really feels like we're at this crossroads, right? Tesla's built this amazing brand, but the competition's getting serious, and the stakes are higher than ever. What does this all mean for, someone like me or anyone out there trying to figure out the whole EV thing? Should we be excited about Tesla, or are there too many warning signs?
Well, I wouldn't say it's all bad news.
Yeah.
Tesla still has enormous potential. They've completely changed the car industry, and they're not afraid to push those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But they are facing some real challenges. More competition and that pressure on their profit margins, the constant need to innovate. It's not going to be easy.
No, a bit of a mixed bag, high risk, high reward. But if I'm thinking about investing in Tesla or even just buying one of their cars, what should I be looking out for in the next year? Like, what are the signs that things are moving in the right direction?
Here's what I'd be watching. Can they actually pull off these big bets? Can they deliver on AI energy in that new Q SUV? Can they hold on to their brand appeal and that customer loyalty with all these new competitors? And finally, can they handle these challenges while keeping up their reputation for quality and safety?
So execution, brand strength, and maintaining those standards. Sounds like a lot, but knowing Tesla, they wouldn't want it any other way.
Right. They thrive on challenges. It's gotten them this far, and I think that's what makes them so interesting to watch.
Well, we've covered a lot today. Record revenue, missed delivery targets, those shrinking profit margins, and those big bets on the future. But like with any deep dive, there's always more to uncover.
Absolutely. The story's just getting started.
And that brings us to the big question we want to leave you with. We've looked at the numbers, we've analyzed those challenges, and we've explored the possibilities. Now it's your turn to think about it. Do you think Tesla will stay on top of the electric vehicle market? Or are we seeing a new era with more players competing for that top spot?
It's a question that impacts everyone, not just investors. It's about the future of transportation, our planet. What do you think?
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into Tesla's Q4 earnings. Hopefully you found it informative, engaging, and something to really think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and keep learning.